Indiana State Finals. Coach McClendon did have some concerns about Dick Barnett. Dick Barnett was, should we say, a free roller at the time.
I was seduced and intoxicated by sports, and really grades and academics really wasn't on my mind.
Dick Barnett was not a good student. He was really a functional illiterate. And they nurtured him through Tennessee State. The president of the school was very supportive of him.
It wasn't because he didn't have the brain power. He just wouldn't go to class. He skipped class and read books. They used to post the grades. You go there and you either had your name or the number, and Barnett had F, 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 flunked everything on his midterm grades. So the guys who were his friends, you know, they kid him. They said, Dick, you know, said, I'm carrying a 3.3. He said, what's your average, man? Dick said, he talked right slow. He said, well, my average is 30 points a game, baby. What's yours?
Dick Barnett was, to us, when he played at Tennessee State, was one of the greatest basketball players to ever play. And he really brought to organized sports in that black college setting a lot of the spirit of the playground. You know, talking trash, get back, I can shoot over you, I'm in charge, I'm playing God, and that's not G-U-A-R-D, that's G-O-D.
Coach McClendon allowed Dick Barnett to have an individual style on the basketball court.
When he brought him to Tennessee State, people told him I need to change his style and all that. Coach McClendon said, you all got to be crazy.
Dick Barnett, of course, had this uncanny shot, which he called fall back, baby.
He would fade into the corner when he shot and shoot a long arching jump shot and kick his legs. So everybody wanted to act like Dick Barnett. And so on the playgrounds, in the corners where they have the fences, all of the fences were torn down partly in the corners in all the playgrounds in North Nashville because everybody was trying to fade into the corner like Dick Barnett.
Our games at Tennessee State would be sold out. In those audiences might be any number of whites. They would come and go and watch the games because Barnett averaged 30, 33 points a game. The team was scoring 90-some points a game. That's unlike anybody around had ever done. And so people came to see the show. Integrated audience on one hand, people side by side, stepping on each other's toes, and no telling what, no problem. Off campus, it's a different atmosphere.
Nashville was really the hotbed which the civil rights movement really came of age because of the students who were willing to put their feet to the pavement and their lives on the line in some respects. I think was a place that was more open to progressive change than many other southern cities. And I think Coach McClendon understood that.
I was a part of going downtown, trying to desegregate lunch counters in Nashville. We were called niggers and everything else. So we were not in isolation. We were part of what was going on.
We practiced, you know, one guy would play the redneck cop, one guy would play a Klansman and then call you nigger and then slap you, and you're supposed to take it and smile. But it's nothing like being on the front line and having it actually happen to you.
You had to decide whether or not you're going to allow somebody to pour coffee all over your suit, all over you. By just your presence, people were willing to hit you in the head or whatever it was. You knew that was coming. If you could not do that, then what they would do is say, well, you take another role.
We are here in the magnificent $6 million municipal auditorium of Kansas City, Missouri tonight with the most coveted of all titles at stake, this NAIA National Championship.
People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of their skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Vote for me and I'll set you free. Rap on, brother, rap on. Well, segregation, determination, demonstration, integration, aggravation, humiliation, obligation to my nation. All the children.
With all the residue of racism that we had to face during that particular time, we were the first team to ever win 3 consecutive national championships in that era, which was unheard of.
Coach Johnny McClendon, your East Tennessee State national champion, NAIA presents the James Naismith Trophy, which is symbolic of our championship for this year. Congratulations to you, your school, and team.
We were the only black team there. And to be able to accomplish that, I think, was a great accomplishment.
The 3 straight national championships won by McClendon is the first time that any school had won 3 straight national championships.
Tennessee State and McClendon endeared himself to the African-American community as a result of winning national championships. The example that many of the others were to try to follow, to have that kind of success.
And here he was finally able to go on the national scene with his teams and let the public know what these teams can do, how good they are. They're not just black players from a little black college.
When UCLA won 3 consecutive NCAA champions, it was big news. When we did it, most people don't even know about it. We felt we were a pretty good team. In fact, we felt that we could have won the NCAA if we would have been allowed into the NCAA.
During the same time that Dick Barnett was setting new records at Tennessee A&I, arguably the greatest player to come out of historically black colleges was playing for Winston-Salem State Teachers College. Cleo Hill learned the game in Newark, New Jersey, where he earned the nickname Skywalker. Al, the Destroyer Addles, played against Hill in high school.
He and I, we were always very friendly competitors, but competitors nonetheless. He was the best high school player I had played against.
At Southside, they didn't encourage us to go to college. And then we started hearing about these historically black colleges in the South. We started hearing about fellows from our community who were getting a chance to go to college.
Cleo was recruited by Winston-Salem coach Clarence Gaines, but that was no guarantee that he would make the team.
Mr. Gaines said, if I bring you in here and give you a scholarship, you're supposed to know how to play. I went right to the gym, and I had an unbelievable practice there against upperclassmen. I mean, shooting hook shots. I mean, boy, it was coming out so perfectly, it was like music.
Cleo Hill was probably the greatest player of his time, black or white.
What is it? Tell me if you think you know. What is it? If you're really him, the past and the years will show. You in a hip trip.
He had every imaginable shot with both hands.
Shoot jump shot.
Left hand hook shot.
He could shoot the set shot.
Right hand hook shot.
One of the early guys to play above the rim.
Couldn't guard him on his left because he was shooting right. If you guard him on his right, he would shoot left hand.
Shoot a hook shot from half court.
People you just didn't believe it.
In the early 50s, a black player who went to a black school couldn't dream of being in the NBA because they only had 8 or 9 teams, and the black players that they took were from big-time schools. So I wasn't dreaming. I was hoping, but I didn't think I would ever be drafted until Al Attles was drafted in the 4th round by the Philadelphia Warriors of the National Basketball Association, and I figured maybe I might get a chance too.
And he did. He was drafted by the St. Louis Hawks in 1961 in the 1st round.
I went out there about 5:30, the paper was there, and I saw the picture, and it said #1 draft choice by the Hawks. And I had to go tell Mr. Jarvis, I was a store owner. I said, I took one of your papers, I came to pay. He said, I figured it was you. I knew it was coming up. So that changed things.
He was a fabulous basketball player at Winston-Salem. He was coached by one of the great coaches of all time, Coach Gaines. But wrong place, St. Louis, wrong time, because the black players were just beginning to start coming into the league with more numbers.
We played an exhibition game in Lexington, Kentucky against the Celtics. About 2 in the afternoon, Bill Russell, Sam Jones came to the room with me and Woody Salisbury in it. And they said they weren't playing. We said, why?
Sam Jones and Sat Sanders go down to the coffee shop to eat. Russell and I up in the room talking. They called up and said they wouldn't serve them.
So right away, I went down to see whether that was true, because I wasn't going to sit out unless it was true. And I went down and they said, no, we can't serve you. So they didn't play, we didn't play.
Boston's owner come out and make a public apology to his team. Said this would never happen again. When you get back to St. Louis, they say we should be fined and suspended. We embarrassed Hagan.
Cliff Hagan said he was embarrassed, and Ben Kernis, the owner of the Hawks, said nothing. In about 3 weeks, boom, trade. Woody Salisbury's gone, Cy Green's gone, and I was the only black player left. And I think the only reason I was left is Coach Seymour was still there.
Well, Cleo went into a hornet's nest in St. Louis. It was a Southern basketball franchise. They really didn't want black players. They drafted him. He came in with all this big hullabaloo about him, but the players on the team decided that they didn't want to play with him.
When he went to the St. Louis Hawks, he was so good that Hagan, LaVellette just hated him.
After the first game, I scored 26. So when I came, that meant the averages of 27 by Bob Pettit, 23 by Cliff Hagan, 21 by Clyde LaVellette. Those averages all broke down because of my scoring ability.
Those kind of guys, they weren't going to give up the ball so this black player could come in and shine. They froze him out.
I did tell Coach, I said, I don't think they want me to shoot. He said, if you don't shoot, you're sitting down.
He was just scoring too many points, and Bob Pettit and Cliff Hagan, they went to the general manager and said, hey, this guy shoots too much. The front office told him, said you got to get rid of him. And Paul Seymour said, no, I'm not going to do that. So they said, well, then you got to go.
After they fired Coach Seymour, he told me that he could have kept his job had he benched me. But he said if he benched me, he would have to look at himself in the mirror, and he didn't want to do that.
St. Louis was a bastion of segregation at that time. And the coach stood by him because he knew that with Cleo, there were no barriers in how far that they could go.
Well, you don't take a great offensive player and now all of a sudden you turn his head away from the basket and you now make him a distributor as opposed to a guy that can use his offensive skills, and that didn't work.
Cleo looked like they had messed him up so much. He looked like he didn't know how to play basketball. He would get the ball and hesitating where, you know,